Sometimes those saving us are themselves escaping from something. If a cursed being comes to you should know it is broken and it's your duty to see it as a broken thing and to see the good within it. Then it will teach you the good within you. Now, this is not the real world, but there is a real world. But this is not the real world. The world where angels and demons battle for us to have a choice. Now, if you alter this water bottle enough, it ceases to be a water bottle. So the question is, if you don't need man for there to be man, or if you don't need this water bottle for there to be this water bottle, then what is a water bottle? And we might just have to go so far as to believe that the water bottle is a water bottle because it wants to be a water bottle. Now, this is fascinating because we are looking at this reality, this universe, and there's always been probabilities for the universe to end. There's even still a lingering probability right now. So what if we're saying that there's always been that probability, and even the probability for it to have salvation has always been there? So imagine that in the past someone created time travel and brought us all back. If that's the case, then we should know it's simple that that same person cannot live to do it again. Now, it's pretty simple because we are saying we don't need bottle A to have said bottle. So then we are also saying that said bottle is said bottle because said bottle wants to be said bottle. Now, in this case, we are saying we have no true way or resources to completely evidence reality, or no complete models for reality. We are saying that we don't have a complete way of saying this thing is this thing, not even this bottle. So then I'm saying that for me to drink from this bottle, one, I have to acknowledge that this is a bottle and it's said bottle, but the interesting part about that is to create life, you have to not model reality, i.e., create the bottle, but you have to create yourself. Now, creating yourself gives more life, i.e., the bottle. Okay, now what I'm saying is that if that part of you which is in charge enough to know that it is in charge, then you need to know that you are in charge, because there's a part of you which you might know somehow, or knows somehow that it's not in charge, but that part of you which is not in charge knows that it is not in charge enough to know that it is not in charge. There be it encouraging you to take charge, because it knows it's not in charge. So in in actual truth, it's a part of you which knows it's not in charge. So what's it telling you? It's telling you that in those parts where you are not in charge, there's parts where you are in charge, and there's parts where you are not in charge. Therefore, the parts where you are not in charge are not in charge enough to know that they are not in charge. So that means that part of you is in charge to know that it's in charge, and part of you is not in charge enough to know that it's not in charge. So that means that all this is trying to tell you is that the part of you which is not in charge is encouraging you to take charge, since that part of you which is in charge knows that it is in charge. But if you are in charge enough to know that you are in charge, and even not in charge enough to know that you are not in charge, then that means that it is the part of you which is in charge which needs to know that it is the part which is not in charge which is telling you to be in charge. and you don't need to be in charge in order to be in charge. And you need to be in charge because that part is telling you to be in charge. So I'm saying that if you're in charge enough to know that you're in charge, then that means you're in charge. I've already said that this world is not real and this is not the real world, but there is a real world. There is a real world, but this is not the real world, but there is a real world. Now, fascinatingly enough, information governs everything, but we should not go chasing information. Degrees of freedom. For me to have this level of degree of freedom to point at such and to point at ye and to point at ye, it is information. But we are saying do not chase that information, because what is known as dimensions are only needed to cover what is being hidden, or what is heaven. So heaven is being hidden by dimensions, and there's only one real dimension, which is the real dimension which we're talking about. That is the only real dimension. Now, the universe. The universe is vast, and it's so vast that sometimes it takes over, and we as points where probable perception is tantamount. We can only imagine the universe taking over us. Relevant to our existence, but we are here enough to know that Schrodinger's chicken will never drink from Schrodinger's bottle, and both are made by Schrodinger. Now, if Schrodinger opens his mind, or if someone opens their mind, they'll see that the real chicken was never a chicken, but it was always Schrodinger's chicken within the chicken's mind. Schrodinger had put the box with the chicken inside within the real chicken, which we are seeing as the real chicken, which is the real chicken because that's the real chicken. So it's not chicken because it's a real chicken, because we need to ask ourselves the question, what happens when we get chicken, and why do we see this chicken as chicken? Why do we eat chicken? Because it is chicken. But why is it chicken? Now, we need to know that chicken will not be chicken if chicken didn't want to be chicken. And had we wanted chicken to be chicken for chicken to exist, chicken will never be chicken. So it's super interesting that we see chicken in such a way, and we need to ask if there's a real chicken in the box. So does the chicken have a thinking brain? Which it does, but to the extent of going through a portal to find itself on the other side, looking free, not just from chicken, but from the world and all its distractions and everything which it sought to free itself from, then we must say chicken will still need to go through Schrodinger's chicken, or it mustn't, because Schrodinger's chicken has always been an illusion, which is all we've been trying to say, except the real chicken, which is a real chicken. So, in terms of illusions, illusions illusions are such because we think them so. Now, we think them so means that we could think them not to be so, but that would be an illusion, and it will mean us thinking them to be so would be us being in an illusion. And it is so super strange that we've still been trying to say that all we need is that one singular dimension, which is not of shapes or of sizes or of dimensions or even anything to begin with. If even anything, we're talking about like something which is not even a dimension but is the one singular dimension. How can we say this then? Because to enter the mind of that which thinks like Schrodinger, but it's not Schrodinger, but can achieve even of sorts going through said portal, which is strange enough to achieve said greatness of bringing us back here, not just for the first time, but to achieve said greatness which wasn't achieved by Schrodinger, or the first Schrodinger, which was probably the first Einstein. So let's just say that we're saying that we only have life so that there will be life or more life. We only have life so that there will be more life. So we only have this water bottle because there should be water bottles or more water bottles. And it's strange enough to think this, because in the universe we've already said that people who are saving us could be escaping from something themselves. So think of it this way: a spaceship, the universe, someone from another universe, and a spaceship could be a way to escape from something. So we know there's escape, but we are being saved, and that's escape. But those who are saving us is also escape. Is the freest thing which we can think about. That is how we free our minds, to know that those who we serve don't need us. It frees us to a great extent. And you see, this is why the chicken will run away from the bottle, because it doesn't get that it's a portal. And strangely enough, you are the only one who's supposed to get that. But the chicken has no accuracy or like medieval evolutionary hereditary traits or inheritance which will let it somehow magically and instinctively just burst through the portal if it sees a portal. Like you said, that's you. If you see a portal, first thing is you even probably think this is stupid. If you're wise enough, you think, What a stupid thing, you know? It's like the universe. Everybody thinks, what a stupid thing. Or something in front of them. It's like, what a stupid thing. He knows, he just somehow specifically by his own, you know, terminologies and his bifurcation and within his goddamn, what's it called? Uh, out of Schrodinger's box thinking, out of Schrodinger's box, with a massive scholarship, which will make him think that it is stupid. So you see, that is why even in the past, going through portals to the past wouldn't save anyone, because we wouldn't still have to go through portals in the past to save anyone. You see, and it just doesn't make any goddamn sense, because for you to think about it, you would have to see that it made sense to someone. And why did it make sense to that person? Because he wanted to escape, or he was escaping. And why did it make sense to you? Because you wanted to escape. So why didn't it make sense to anyone? Because it was like an escape from flat lands. And you can't escape from flat lands in that strange way without just knowing that like this bullshit is actually flat lands. Then it's weird. And how are you even on flat lands? You know? It's like the weirdest thing. So then you progress, then you find out that there's no edge, but there is an edge. So if there's no edge, but there is an edge, what does it mean? So if we're all on the edge, someone will feel the edge to tell us all to jump off. But whosoever resists the force of verisimilitude, which just urges every singular member of the race to jump off when they reach the edge, then we must punch them in the face who tells us to jump off. You understand? Because that's the only way which we will resist the edge of jumping off. So at the edge of the universe, at the edge of the universe, we find out that we have been escaping from nothing, in the sense that what we have been escaping from was never something to escape from, because in itself it was escaping from something, and it needed to escape. And strangely enough, we didn't need to. So it's like a running man, someone running in the night through like a city. Everyone will think, whoa, who's this guy? He's just running. They might feel the edge of running after him, or like, it's strange. That's why I'm saying that somebody trying to transmit a deadly viral infection to somebody who knows the antidote, it's like shooting bullets through a body with a hole in it, or just putting nuclear waste or sewage in like a person's room, only to find out there was a drainage system in there. It just wouldn't make any sense. It was a drainage system leading outside, so all the sewage just didn't matter. Or dumping like poisonous gases in the person's room just to find out there was a vent there the whole time, and it's like, it's the weirdest thing, because both very similitudes, both similar situations, or non-similar, dissecting completely divisible or divisive situations were not supposed to happen in the first place. So then we are asking, what then is salvation? Because someone is trying to save his so-called thing, which he very similitudes and desires. But can we say there was ever a desire in the chicken or for the chicken or in the chicken for the chicken? It was just never such a thing. Even to think the chicken could consider such Schrodinger's heaven to be of heavens, seeing from the beginning that Schrodinger would trap him in a box, and also seeing that had always been the box, and he had always known that had always been the box. So if you see what I mean, it just doesn't really make any sense to say this. Like I said, if you alter this thing enough, it ceases to be this thing. So at what moment does this thing cease to be this particular thing? Interestingly enough, we could decide to drink everything in it and see. Even now, it still remains a bottle of water because there's some water in it. So if there was like just a drop left, will it still be a bottle of water? It will be a drop of water in a bottle. It won't be a bottle of water. So have we altered it enough for it not to be what it is? It's a bottle, but it's not a bottle of water. So God, this is gonna take a while. Which is why I've always been saying that physics has always been perpetual motion. Yes, they lied to us that it was entropy. For the entropy believers, it is good enough and wise enough, since the world is not able to be modeled. But if it is not able to be modeled, then does it mean that which stands as the decisive bearer or purpose is missing simply because we say so? So, what do we say about purpose? What it's empty now, so I mean, like, it's not. I mean, at this moment, it's not a bottle of water. It's like a bottle with a drop. It's the same. It's just a bottle. So, ah, when we say purpose, you know, should we just give Schrodinger's box's purpose to Schrodinger, or are we to purpose it? Because are we to see that there's a chicken in this box? There's a thing in this box which causes the chicken not to be a chicken. There's not a chicken in this box. It is not a box. Something is going to happen for the chicken not to be in the box. It's not going to be a box. It's not a box. It's not Schrodinger's box. It's not this. Are we just going to say that it is Schrodinger's box or Schrodinger's chicken in Schrodinger's box? So if it is Schrodinger, then it is Schrodinger, right? It's Schrodinger. It's always been Schrodinger. So it's Schrodinger. So what's its purpose then to Schrodinger? To Schrodinger, purpose will be not knowing himself, but allowing others to know themselves. Now, that will be the purpose of Schrodinger's box. But that was the mentality of him who said you need to free yourself in order to free someone else. His master thought him right, but his master taught him otherwise. So his master went home and thought again, and said that what a clever boy. He forgot or he forgets that in order to free someone or in order to free yourself, you must first know that you are not free. Hence, true freedom comes from knowing that you are not free. And to free someone, you must not be free, which is what the true master would have told his student to say. But the true master would have known that was the true student. But the true master would have known that that was the true student. And the true student would have known that he was a true master. But the true master would have known that the true student still takes time to master. And that is the overwhelming, over overcompensating fucking fragments of this fracture of fucking reality which we call like the end of like the universe, which is something which is waiting for us. But we say this is a body of work and we know not where it comes from. It's a body and we know not where it is coming from. As it is, we know that things affect it, such as the wind, and as is stones. So stones and me or who I am are somewhat affected by everything in this universe similarly. Or what is called, let's just say, wind or water or light or or things in this specific place, including me and it, i.e., the stones. So we are both affected by the same things, and this we know to this greatest extent we know. But when do we say there's very similitude between me and this stone or anything, or even me, myself, to say there's very similitude in like this consistent caveat where I persist? It just wouldn't make any sense because what will matter is that there would have to be letting go of freedom from the one who's being freed. So the one who's being freed will have to free you, not just themselves. So why are you being free? You have to free me because you saying you want to be free is something which is going to completely torture and enslave the mindset of the quantum foam probabilities, which leads to Schrodinger's box within my cat brain. I hope you get it. So, in order to just free or be free, we need to just realize that we need to be free. Thus, being follow the universe on a perpetual course to where it is going, not in an unconscious way, which will lead you to become Schrodinger's chicken or Schrodinger's box, but in a most conscious way, which would lead you to becoming free. Have I said wisdom? I guess we speaking about the universe, and what I'm saying is that you are in charge enough to know that you are in charge. So, if you are in charge enough to know that you are in charge, then what matters the most is just being in charge or just taking charge. But how does something be in charge? It's like, there's a spot where you revitalize yourself, or there's a spot where there's chicken, you know, or there's a spot where there's chicken, but you can't even go get the chicken because normally there has to be chicken inside of you for you to even go and even get that chicken. So what is this magnetism between chickens? It is just the continuum or the continuous atomic circulation, which is wind, which circulates around and makes chicken want to somehow enter chickens because of the atomics in chicken, which doesn't even lead to fission or fusion, but rather a type of, you know, a type of freedom from even the atom itself. So the atom itself will have to constantly think and meditate for where it is going, from whence its concepts came and from whence its formulator, and why it even has to be something which has energy inside, and why at some points, some other places in the universe, there is free energy, but at some other points, we find what is called atomic circulation. Isn't it weird?